Many thanks for your time and for hitting the bell on our podcast. Your support, your comments, and your feedback help us to make the show the best it can be. Thank you and enjoy. Now, on the 25th of February 1988, everything changed for our guest and for the country. This is the next episode in our Voices of the Land series, and one thing that's quietly merging is that every place leaves its mark, every life leaves its voice, and every generation leaves a footprint. Some leave those footprints in the landscape, others in the decisions they make, the people they influence, and the stories they eventually choose to tell. And my opening question for our guest, whilst I'm just finishing this introduction, is: did Wales feel emotionally different from England during the changes imposed on it through those turbulent times by decisions from London? From a Lancashire school to Oxford, from the boardrooms of Britain's electricity industry during one of its most turbulent times to becoming an award-winning business leader on both sides of the Atlantic, a student of theology, and finally a novelist exploring faith, memory, and what remains when the working years are behind us. John Uttley wasn't simply a writer. He read physics at Oxford, became finance director of Central Electricity Generating Board during some of those turbulent times, including the miners' strike, including Sizewell inquiry and electricity privatisation. And yet he received an OBE, later studied divinity, chaired companies on both sides of the Atlantic, and in retirement turned to writing novels exploring faith, memory and ordinary lives. Now that's an extraordinary journey. His books are part of that story, but today we're exploring the life that actually shaped them, a journey through changing Britain, through changing values, and through one man's search for meaning across more than 8 remarkable decades. John, a very warm welcome to Dunker's podcast, Voices of the Land.
Thank you very much.
Now, where does life begin? Not birth, but influence. So, if I start off by saying, when you close your eyes and you think of home, what do you hear before what you remember, what you see?
What do I hear first? I think it would be church bells.
Church bells. And were those church bells shaped by your parents or your expectations? Do the church bells mean that was home?
Probably yes. I think they do. I think it's a sound of somehow peace to hear church bells. To me, I know other people complain like hell that they're noisy things,
Well,
and I do recall at school the head abolished the bell between lessons, saying the school was going in for the Nobel Peace Prize.
right, okay, yeah.
He didn't have a great sense of humour, as bad as mine.
Clearly not.
As bad as mine. Yeah.
And so, do you think your parents taught you the sort of values that govern today, your life today, or were they effectively self-generated?
I mean, obviously, you do follow your parents to an extent, but they weren't a conspicuously moral type, if you know what I mean. They just got on with their lives too, and they indeed separated, which isn't something that you'd expect church-based people to do. So I wouldn't say that they had a profound impact on me. I think it was just generated within the culture.
Right.
And I'm not a moral person particularly. I'm not making any great claims for myself either. You know, the only time I did reveal something was when I was giving a dividend I didn't feel quite entitled to away to charity, and people asked me why, and I said, after thinking for a minute, I said, I was a boy covenanter. I didn't want to keep it.
Yeah.
But it was just a Bible class I used to attend as a kid.
And it clearly had quite an impression on you.
Yeah, just that I felt that you should have standards. I mean, you should have standards. Yeah.
And so, did those standards run with you through education? Because you went to grammar school, I guess the old-fashioned grammar school. We probably both went to. Well, I went to grammar school as well, so
Yeah.
it was they were built on the same level of discipline and old buildings, and life doesn't change outside the school. It's always the same inside.
I think, to be fair, I was at King George V Southport. Southport was rather posh by Northwest standards.
Right, right.
And the school, I mean, we did get 50 lads into university my year in the sixth, including half a dozen to Oxbridge. So it was
Right.
it was a high expectancy school, if you like. You know,
Yeah.
they did expect you to do quite well. But having said that too, it was a northern school. So anybody who could add up, yeah, was expected to do maths, physics, and chemistry at A level, and then go on and read one of them.
Right, right. Hence the reason when you got to Oxford, you studied physics.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
physics, when I was thinking about this, physics teaches certainty. Life rarely
No.
does. No,
No.
no. I've got that wrong, have I?
What other science has got the uncertainty principle in it?
Well, I didn't know that the uncertainty principle was unique to physics. It is, clearly.
I think Heisenberg's uncertainty principle in quantum mechanics is probably unique to physics. You know, yeah,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's basically if you know where a particle is, you don't know how fast it's going, and if you know how fast it's going, you don't know where it is. Basically, what it says in simple terms.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty uncertain. Yeah. Okay. So, because you were studying, obviously the sciences, maths and the sciences, did you ever feel like an outsider in your own sort of peer group?
No, no. I mean, back in Southport. I mean, not at Oxford, but many of the lads were studying science subjects.
Okay.
Uh, you know, that they would have jobs as in at ICI and places like that. You know,
Right.
this was in the days when Britain still had manufacturing business.
Right. I think we could probably do a podcast on that, John. Yeah. About the Gulf or what might have been lost, I think has been lost. So
Yeah, yeah.
do you think that Oxford taught you a better understanding of class, or simply better at pretending it didn't exist?
Well, I don't think I mean, you can hear my accent still. Here I am, 80 years of age, still with an accent demonstrably from the northwest of England.
Absolutely, I'm proud of it.
I'm proud of it, yes.
Yeah.
I think I always say I speak standard Northern English.
Right.
Uh,
It's just the
which
Southerners can't understand us. That's the thing, isn't it?
and I look at the statistics, and more than half the population of England will use a short A. Not
Right.
all again. Yeah.
Right.
So laugh is used by more people than laugh.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Bath as more people
And
than
that.
Bath. Yep, exactly that. Do you think our kids are getting shortchanged in terms of education nowadays?
Uh, I I think probably education's quite good in the state again. Uh, I've got to be honest, and my kids all went private, so
Right.
sell out. But
Okay. Well, no, it's okay. You knew the path to take, and that was what you wanted to do. That's great. So,
it's another matter. If you live in North London, as we do now, you know, uh, and at that point where I was having to make the decisions, which is 20 years back,
yeah,
state education was not what you'd want for them.
wasn't it?
No,
No, no.
it's not so bad now. I think it's a lot better now.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a real focus on all party focus on the sort of keeping
Yeah,
education there or thereabouts. So let's go into your working life. Let's look at the CEGB, because that was major responsibility. You were making decisions that, frankly, affected millions. Uh, and I think was it around about March the 31st, 1990, that the privatisation electricity white paper
yeah,
came out.
yeah.
Was that under your leadership, or
Uh,
under your team's leadership?
I had to follow. The white paper was written in government, of course. The white paper was
Sure.
written in government, and I was just one of several people who went to hear what he had to say. Funnily enough, it was the day that my wife rang me to tell me that she was pregnant with our first child.
Wow.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and I got to listen to it was Cecil Parkinson, wasn't it? Was
yeah.
it Cecil? Was it Peter Walker? It might have been Peter Walker still. Whichever the Secretary of State was, uh, announced what was happening, which was basically the split up of the CEGB and, and everything I detested. Uh, but at the time, I was just so elated that he could have announced he was selling it to the Libyans, and it wouldn't have fazed me that much.
And you'd have put the CV, your CV into the new owners, would you, John? Yeah. So do you think there's a loneliness about leadership? Because you were on that leadership team. You were pretty high up, weren't you? You were
Yeah,
was it the financial director?
I was finance director. I also, on privatisation, did lead the privatisation task force for the National Grid division of the CGB.
Right.
So I was very heavily involved in privatisation. I was project director for the settlement system because a new system had to be set up to pass funds between the CGB successor bodies and the distribution companies, the area boards as we used to call them, and because we'd never needed to have meters and tariffs and all the rest between us in the same way before. So I was project director for the settlement system, and I mean, I was more or less told you can spend whatever you want.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, because this job has got to be done.
And so that obviously there was a not just the politics, there was a real impact to the human experience of leading those through those national upheavals. I mean, how did for a person who you openly admitted at the start of this podcast that you've got at least a moral stand which you're quite proud of. How did that feel to sort of think the impact that you were making on those so many people?
It was it was because it was exciting. Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, uh, uh, and was fairly normal up to that point. So it was, in a sense, it was enjoyable, the challenge. Whether we could make it work was a big issue. Whether we actually could make this new regime work, it's
Yeah.
still more or less as it was. So those changes are being made now. So it lasted. The changes, the systems we set up did work. They did. We've had 30 years, uh, nearly 40 years since when
They've been tested and made to.
and yeah, so it has worked. Um, I didn't like the privatisation. I still would have preferred one integrated monopoly regulated. That would have been my preference because I think every time we try and split it up, there's something that emerges from the woodwork that says, this is integral to another operation somewhere else, and it's best all considered as a whole. Um,
So are the words of our latest leader Andy Burnham about the sort of the integration or the possible integration back of, for example, the rail systems, etc. Are those is that music to your ears?
um, Not music to my ears because I think we spent so much time trying to break it up,
Well, right.
and we've made it work, and all that endeavour is wasted, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, um, and Electricity hasn't worked badly either. The
No.
challenges in electricity now are not the same challenges. There are challenges, the, the challenges of as you move to an environment, basically as you take heavy plant off, keeping the system stable is different. When you have bloody great generators, 2,000 megawatt great generators, it was very difficult to get the system to go unstable because they were heavy beasts.
Right.
Uh, but the more stuff you put on that isn't heavy, the less stable the system can become. And Spain had a blockout not that long ago.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, we
Yes.
haven't had one yet in Britain, but I'm sure they've been near the. I don't know because I don't know anybody left now, but I guess I read that they have been close once or twice to problems.
Right. Well, obviously, what you were piloting through the Maya that you were piloting through obviously proved successful because, as you've just said, 40 years later, you're still using the same, more or less the same sort of systems and the same
Yeah.
in type of infrastructure that way. So you were recognised, which is fantastic. You received the OBE.
For the bugger's efforts.
Exactly. Well, what was that for? And did success change you? I
It
have to
was
ask.
it was for privatisation. You
Was it?
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, yeah. I mean, it just said for services to the National Grid Company is all the
Right.
thing says, but it was all because of privatisation and having headed up the settlement systems project. There's a business systems shell project, uh, um, uh, and the privatisation project. So it was those things which got me the OBE.
Okay. So you've been recognised. Frankly, you must be very proud of your vision and how you managed to bring people together and bring resources together to actually
It did.
deliver on that.
It didn't last. Like
Oh, okay.
it never does. Uh, business careers, all business careers end in failure. It said, rather like political careers. And a few years down the line, I and the chairman fell out. Yep, and I
Which
freed up and
happens.
retired.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, which happens. So, a more personal question to link to your career was how has your career been important to your sense of personhood?
It must be very, very, very important because there you are. You see yourself as a little lad going to potently filed Church of England junior school or whatever, and then you look and you think 20 years later, here I am as finance director of the CGB in a chauffeur-driven car, going out to posh restaurants, hotels, and
Yeah.
it, 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 it changes you, not necessarily for the better.
Okay.
Yep.
So did reflecting on those changes, which is I think it shows humility on your part to actually recognise that you didn't want to luxuriate in the changes. You were aware of them. Did those changes push you a bit more towards your faith? And because when I was just sort of preparing for the podcast, I was trying to sort of struggle in a way to understand why you studied divinity after physics. It seems a pole apart.
It's not unusual to find physicists taking an interest in divinity. Yeah, there are people, good theologians, who are both physicists and theologians. Yeah, so it's not that unusual, I don't think. And you are, after all, both contemplating the infinite,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
uh,
You're studying the
and
universe through science or God, aren't you?
yeah, yeah. It's they're very different disciplines, of course, and I never look to find God in science. Uh,
No.
no, it's a different discourse. Science is most of the time, at least, God neutral.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was.
You're not a
Yeah.
good scientist if you invoke God the whole time.
Because most people, in fairness, do seem to go in the opposite direction, don't they? From if you're in one, they go in an opposite direction. So,
Yeah.
how does science and faith fit together in your mind? Have they become friends, or are they still arguing?
They've never argued because I always
Okay,
saw them. I always saw them as separate discourses.
did you?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I've tried never to fall into the trap of fixed views, if you like. I've always tried to avoid that. It comes from my theology. I mean, I always say I'm a cradle Anglican, you
Right.
because you hear of cradle Catholics and all the rest of it. And I always say my favourite author is Graham Greene. Uh,
Okay.
and he was writing in despair, Catholic guilt. I always say mine is Anglican innocence.
Right. He might. To have him here to put his side of the discussion forward. So I was looking at the roadmap of your life and sort of because 80 years, 8 decades, long time, and it occurred to me that you've lived through almost every major change since the Second World War.
Yep.
Grammar schools, class mobility. I made a note of a few of these.
Yeah.
Oxford, obviously, Oxford in the 60s. Science replacing certainty, as we've just touched on, nationalising industries, the miners' strike, privatisation. You can see faith in decline, your
Yeah.
own personal retirement, and I guess looking back. So that led you to writing to make a sense of it. That's a huge canvas to have actually covered. So why write now, John?
Well, I've been writing a decade now.
Okay,
Uh, People who've read the books, I'd like to hear their views of how well have I managed to depict that canvas, because it's all there in the books, really. You don't write about these events, you write about people, because that's what's interesting. The first three books were family sagas. This
right.
last book is very much the end of the line. It's what my latest book is called, is about obviously the end of the line. It's about
Yes,
approaching death.
yes,
It's yeah,
yes. And
contemplating one's own mortality.
but in your happy way.
Well, um, I don't know how happy you'll be. I mean, I'm not saying you can stay cheerful to the end. I don't know, and I do quite like to be lugubrious.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I quite like Les Dawson's humour.
Absolutely. So, do you think that this was? Do you think when you wrote this, because the end of the line is intended to be your final work, is this a bit of a novel about yourself or about
Uh,
your?
it's not about myself. Jim, who's the protagonist, is not
Yeah.
me at all. If
Okay.
I deliberately wrote Jim. He's uh, he's my age. He was rather less successful in the business career.
Right.
Yeah, rather more successful with the women. He had two of them
Right. Okay.
at the same time.
Moving on. Moving on. Right.
uh, but
Obviously, a man of great energy. Yeah.
but it wasn't an autobiographical at all. I always try to make sure that I make the characters such that I can't be autobiographical about them.
Right. Right.
I do. I even, would you believe, because I'm a Bolton Wanderers supporter.
Okay.
I
Oh.
I even got Jim supporting Blackburn Rovers.
Oh, did you? Now that's
That
where it shall
hurt.
meet. Goodness.
That hurt.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. Yeah, it was eight. So you're sort of now you're looking back over 80 years. What I'm going to ask you because you're just a bit older than me. What do you think surprised you about growing old, and what do you think you've gained as a person, or and how do you see the country? 80 years is a long time, John.
Yep. I think the lack of the way that religion melted away, I didn't like. But on the other hand, living in North London now, I go to the local Anglican church, and it's full. It's full every week now.
Is it really?
A bit happy clappy, but
Yeah.
and too a bit happy clappy for my taste. But all these African Christians who populate the place, it really is a revelation. Lovely to watch. Yeah,
And the atmosphere and the intention that's expressed there must be
yeah.
also lovely to be
Uh,
part of.
to feel that the faith has transmuted so that people from Africa are finding so much in it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah,
yep. And you just wish the English could find as much in it too.
absolutely. So, if you sort of look back and look at two sort of quick snapshots, at 20, to you, what did success look like?
Yep. I was at 20. I made a decision when I came down from Oxford to go into management accountancy, and this was, Harold Wilson banged on about the white heat of the technological revolution. Do you remember that? And
Vaguely, I do, I do.
I was joining it in my own mind. I was going to
Right.
get British industry. Now, what I obviously one sense of disappointment is accountants of that and every other era have done nothing more than mess around with balance sheets. They never really supported British business, So there was no salvation there, if you like.
No, no. And I think there's a real indication now that finance people are there to support, but they just haven't supported. They've taken a lot of profit out of a few players, and that's
Oh,
and just
the balance sheet stripping has been horrible to behold.
yeah, yeah.
Look at the water industry now. I'm not going to cast aspersions because I'm not well read into it, but it's quite clear that the balance sheets have been ruined by people taking out special dividends and the like.
Mm.
And these companies would have been a damn sight stronger if they hadn't been paying out dividends that hadn't been earned.
Absolutely. And you've also got to look at the other side of that coin, which is, I guess, where I come from through my working life. And at the moment, I think there's about 5.8 million SMEs in this country. And
Yeah.
that's where the focus, that's where the investors, that's where the funding should be
That's where the
targeted.
growth. That's where the growth should be. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was nice. When I did chair the AIM companies later on in my career, they were all SMEs, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
But the trouble is, for every couple of successes you got, I probably did have 3 successes, but there were 3 or 4 dogs as well, if you know what I
Well,
mean.
actually, can I just sort of say off the record, if you got away with out of 8, if you got away with 3 or 4, and you lost 3 or 4, I think you really beat the odds. It's usually about
None of them actually went bust, but
well, that was brilliant. That was
but,
brilliant.
but one of them was really hidden.
Yeah, well, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
okay. So, if your grandchildren listen to this conversation in 30, 40, 50 years from now, what would you hope that they learn from how you lived?
Um, what would they learn? I hope they would hear the cheerfulness that I still have for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have the same for themselves. I mean, life isn't good for them, is it? They've got a bum deal,
Yeah,
uh,
it's a tough act. It really is. Yeah.
and yet most of them do remain cheerful, of course. I mean, but they do have a bum deal. I mean, the growth has gone, the opportunities are not great. Yep, and they've got to listen to that god awful music they listen to.
Right. Well, on,
Sorry.
no, no, no. On the basis that this podcast isn't looking at the assets or the downside of music, we'll leave it at that. John, it's been really fascinating. A quick span through the journey and time of your life. Many, many thanks for being with us. And as we say in North Wales with the Dunkers, we'll leave you by saying, may the spirit of the Dunkers go with you.
Now I am 1/16 Welsh.
Oh, are you? From where do you hail?
Uh, uh, it was they were around St Asaph, the
Okay.
Merediths, and I do recall. I know it's always Meredith now,
Yeah.
but they were called Merediths.
Yeah. But they were called Meredith.
Yeah, they never didn't go for this Meredith stuff. No.
No, no, no. Well, you can put that on your TV as well.
In fact, I was reputed to be. The family was reputed to be related to Billy Meredith, the famous footballer of the turn of the
Really?
last century. Yeah,
Wow.
but I couldn't find that on the family research. I couldn't find
Okay.
any William Meredith
Well,
footballer
who
on
knows?
the.
One of the grandkids might come back and surprise you. You've got good DNA anyway, John. Thank you once again.